talking about things like this with black people in general. I'm talking about black women and black men. Um, it's hard to talk about certain things because they're just not. They take everything the wrong way. They are very sensitive, very very sensitive, and on top of that, they think they're culture a lot. They think a lot of them think they're cultured, but they're not. Especially if it's a black person that's coming from down south. When it comes to dating preferences, right? Um, where it'll be like, say, if it's a black dude that decides to date a white woman, they think it's something personal, really, or if it's a black woman dating a white man or somebody else of a different race, or vice versa, they think it's personal. But there are certain states in America where it's predominantly white, right? Or meaning I'm talking about counties, cities. Most of this country is white, bro. It's a predominantly white country. And then especially if you're moving out to the suburbs or you're moving to certain states, you cannot be shocked if it's a black person, especially if they're moving to certain counties, certain towns, if they come out with a white spouse or an Asian spouse, Latino spouse, Latina spouse, right? So right here, Candace Owens, Charlamagne the God is gonna try to trip her up, and basically he's gonna ask her why she married a white dude. You know what I mean? So let's take a listen. Oh, here we go. I almost messed up my whole thing. Here we go.
I want to go back to something you said earlier, because I know a lot of people hear you say, well, Candace, you're speaking a lot about, the black family, but then you married a white man.
Yeah,
Dr. Umar would have a huge problem with that.
Okay, I would love to talk to him.
Here we go. And by the way, I would like to see a debate with Dr. Umar and Candace Owens. That would be the most entertaining debate that I would see in my life. Now, what people don't understand is Candace Owens is from Connecticut, right? I'm from Connecticut. We in the county that she's from, I'm from the same county. I'm not going to be specific on what city or town that may be, right? But I'm very familiar. Trust me, I'm very familiar to that area. There is a large white, Asian, and Asian population, particularly a large Vietnamese population in southern Connecticut specifically. It's not shocking to hear that Candace Owens' first boyfriend was an Asian. That's not shocking to hear from me, because it's not a whole lot of Candace Owens type women per se, even though they're not uncommon, but they're not, like, I know a lot of girls, or particularly black girls, that do think outside the box. That's similar to Candace Owens, maybe not politically, but they're just outside of the box thinking type. So their boyfriends are going to be very non-conventional in high school, particularly in high school. Whoever they're going out with is going to be very non-conventional. It's going to be somebody that you don't think that, a black girl's going to go out with. So you'll see her out with an Indian dude or an Asian dude, or it will be a white dude, but it will be like, it's not going to be a Chad, right? You know what I mean when I say that? It's not going to be just a jock. So girls like Candace Owens are usually going to date somebody that's not somebody that you would never think that she's going to date. That's why when I first heard that Candace Owens had a husband like a year or two ago, because I didn't even know that she was married. When I found out, I automatically thought it's probably an Asian dude, or probably a mix of somebody that's Asian and Asian and white. So they were like half Asian and half white, because there's a lot of those in Connecticut where it's like Asian dude, white woman, or white Asian. No, sorry, white. I did this, or white man, Asian woman. You know what I mean? Even though I see a lot of Asian man, white woman, where I'm from. So just in that part, that's not uncommon to see. It's not uncommon to see something like that. And I'm pretty sure she dated Asian dudes, then white, and then I'm pretty sure when she went to college, then she dated black, some black dudes, and then went back to white. I'm pretty sure it went in some semblance of some kind of order.
It's
Well,
weird.
that's like,
Yeah.
I was like, I was in Stanford, Connecticut. There was an Asian population in Stanford.
Yeah.
Connecticut?
Well, I mean,
See, because Charlemagne the God's a Southern ninja. Now, even though he lives in New York is a different animal. New York is a very it's a different type. And even though it's like New York is only like when we talk about New York City, particularly New York City is about what? It's not a long train ride away from Stanford. So it's not so from Stanford to New York City, it can't be no more than an hour. Can't be no more than an hour drive, and then definitely a train ride for what 30 to 40 minutes. So or it probably I think no more than an hour too for definitely less than an hour for a train ride. So it's two different worlds. It's two different worlds.
I mean, there's Asian population everywhere.
Hold on for a second. Something crazy happened with the audio. Sorry about that, guys. Some technical difficulties, but we fixed it.
I don't know. Was there a higher one in Stanford, Connecticut?
No, I think
Okay.
I just pursued Asian men. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
liked.
So I'm pretty sure. And then when you look at her story, how she first came into light, I'm pretty sure she went to a private high school. So if she went to a private high school in Stanford, she probably went to like King's Academy or something like that, or one of these spots. Because it's because where she's from, Stanford is smack dab right near Stanford, Connecticut. You got New Canaan, you got Greenwich. You know what I mean? You got Norwalk. It's right nearby Westchester County in New York. It's not that far away. Like it's like, so this is the problem, especially when you start talking to Southern ninjas about the demographics of certain things. You know what I mean?
It's Asian guys.
Yeah.
Candace Owens fetishizes Asian men.
Oh my God. Stop painting the headlines so they can grab it. What is wrong with you?
I want to go back to
Oh man, Charlemagne the God's a hoe. But anyway, yeah. But unfortunately, what so when you look at the comment section, you got people giving her support for all different types of reasons. So we'll see some of these comments. Somebody says she gave her reasons without degrading black men. Take notes. I mean, we can go into that, but you know, for some weird reason, it'll be like, say, like if a black dude dates a white woman, there's always this thing where they think that we're just talking crazy about black women when we're dating outside the race. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I remember when Terrell Owens basically opened up, and he didn't say that with the white woman he was with. He literally said, like, look, growing up, black women gave me a really hard time. You know what I mean? And which like I say, women really don't care about the struggles you went through when you were a kid. So once you have a certain dating preference or a dating choice, for some reason, you're just supposed to just act like what happened as a kid didn't happen, and then just move on and act, and just act like it didn't happen. You know what I mean? But particularly when you talk about the dark skinned ninjas, yeah, yeah, I already knew what Terrell Owens was going through on that end. But to a lesser extent, darker skinned women do go through that too a little bit. But in terms of what you're talking about, dark skinned men, yeah, I already know. But when he opened up about this is why, so I just ended up gravitating towards white women, right? And when he opened up about that, they dismissed him. They act like he even oh, you don't have the reason. They was ripping him for that. And I was just like, so you tell him to open up, you ask him why, he gives you his honest assessment, and you just act like he just had no valid reason or he shouldn't have done that anyways. And it's just like, oh my God, there's not a winning situation. So there's always in a lot of black women's mind, they're always thinking that, oh, if a black dude is dating out, he's talking crazy about white women or whatever. But if they are, it's because that guy was really like ripped. You know, unfortunately, black women in general, they don't have tact compared to other races. That doesn't make them worse or better. It's just they don't have tact. So whatever's wrong with you as a kid, they're gonna call you out on it. And now, men that are more hip up to game, they understand that a lot of the times, unfortunately, they think they're flirting when they start insulting you and stuff like that. But most men are not trying to play the dozens with girls or women. So they're just like, oh my God, can't she just leave me alone? You know what I mean? But a lot of men, they don't pick up on that. So by the time they're done with, like, you know, middle school or elementary school, you know what I mean? Whatever school, then it's just like, then they're like, man, I can't do that. I can't do that no more. I just can't. So there's a whole lot of reasons if you're hearing that black men are doing this, even though a lot of that is just projection. In my opinion, a lot of stuff that women in general complain about men doing to them, it's just projection. So you say, somebody said she did it right. The women would have never seen the altar. Well, like I said, the Asian dudes didn't take her to the altar, either. So, and like I said, when it comes to marriage is a lot of it. Marriage, low key, is a business. Not only is it not not only is it a business decision, it's also a political decision. If you really think about it. Let's see. She would have never seen the altar. She said a versus with Dr. Umar is needed. I would watch that. So somebody said Candace is essentially saying that she only dated men who were intellectually compatible and intellectually stimulating to her. There's nothing wrong with that. And this is the comment I do want to address, because there was a lot of I saw black women say this on Twitter to kind of stab at black men, but at the same time I saw black men that took Candace Owens' comment out of context. They try to act like that's all she said, but what people don't understand is this. Every woman, almost every other woman, when you ask, okay, what are you looking for when you're dating somebody or you're looking for somebody to marry? They're always going to say he has to be smart. He needs to be this. He needs to be that. But you're always going to hear this statement. That's one of the statements that you always hear. He needs to be intellectually stimulating. He needs to, I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm just saying most women are afraid to say, look, this is what I like. I like this. He needs to be, this is my physical type. And if most women because we're seeing it with the dating apps, women are just putting like their physical type, and it's leaving like most men out of the prototype. So most men will not fit her physical type. So women have to say stuff like he needs to be intellectually this, he needs to be that, he needs to. So most women can't say, oh, I just want to date a black guy, or I just want to date a white guy, I just want to date an Asian guy, right? Or I just want to date this type of guy. Because if she puts that out there, it's going to really limit her choices in terms of most guys are going to be like, oh, I don't even have a shot at her. You know what I mean? Because now that women are being more truthful about their physical types, most guys are like, wow, I mean, I guess there's no point in me playing the game. So women are always going to say, intellectually this, intellectually that, unfortunately, Candace Owens can't just say, look, he was just my type. And I prefer dating white or Asian. Now, if she said that, people would have called her a villain, but there's nothing wrong with her saying that. So like every time, like that's, I'm just like, people will talk about, oh my God, he needs to be intellectual. I always hear that intellectual shit. And I'm like, well, there's very few women that I've come across. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. I'm talking about white, black, Asian, Latina, straight, dyke bitches, all of them. they always talking about intellectual this, but they easily get caught up. And then on top of that, you find out what their dating past is, and they were dating drug dealers and criminals and stuff like that. So when people hear the whole intellectual thing, I think people took that out of context on Twitter. I'm talking about black men and black women. You know what I mean? Intellectually, what she's talking about, intellectually stimulating and intellectually compatible. Well, I'm pretty sure if I look up her husband, is somebody that's physically pleasing to her in some sense. You know what I mean? And or when it was, like I said, it was when it's time to somebody to marry her, somebody to take her seriously. She was like, okay, who's going to take me seriously? And it's probably most likely not going to be ninjas, right? And she probably, and like I said, Asians is her type, which is not surprising from where she's from. That's not surprising. She's most likely not lying about that. So the Asians weren't taken seriously. So the next option, white. So then now this is where process of elimination. She does, do the Carfax, family background checks, all that. Okay, he matches out. He's my physical type 2 anyways. Okay, we'll get married. I'm pretty sure that's how it went. It's not that difficult to deduce, but people took this way too far. So right here, somebody said, let me see here. So this dude basically said that there's no black man as smart as her. You have to listen to decode her well educated turncoat dialogue. But that's guys, because first of all, he took that completely wrong. But at the same time, we'll look at it like this, right? Because I saw a white dude, right? Like those, the so-called based white Christian conservatives on Twitter that all they do is talk about who black men are fucking. That's all they talk about on Twitter, right? So, right, and he was basically trying to say, "Hey, black dude, stop." stop being offended, and they were basically taking a piss. But I was trying. This is the point I'm trying to make. Every woman is always going to say in some sort, I need somebody that matches my level or my intellectual level, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm like, say all the stuff is true about the IQ being low and all that stuff. So why are black men still number 2 in dating preferences worldwide, right? Still top 2. I'm talking about even some places number 1, and I'll be surprised. So that just shows you, I'm talking about worldwide. It's either white or black, top 2. So and when you look at especially when you look at the population, even in America, some places in America, it's number 1. And when you look at the black population, it's less than 15% of the population. So I'm like, that's actually an accomplishment in and of itself. So that shows you it's really not about intellectual this or IQ that, or maybe the way we're measuring IQ is wrong. I don't know. You know what I mean? But don't take that intellectual quote and just hold that up in the air. Oh, she said, nah, don't worry about that. don't worry about that. Most of the time, that shit doesn't matter. She married her husband because that was her physical type. You know what I mean? So I hope, because it was a lot of people that took that part the wrong way. But I'm looking in my examples, because particularly I hear black women say this all the time about intellectual, my intellectual type. And I'm like, so why are you not with an Asian? Forget just white man. Just why you not with an Asian? And then you look at their dating history, and then you're I'm talking about, I know black women with like master's degrees be with ninjas in prisons, and for that just did a prison bid. And by the way, that doesn't mean that they're not smart as well. You know, that's another common misconception that a lot of the white conservative Christian dudes don't get, and what a lot of the straggles kind of miss, and the sensitive pro-blacks, the sensitive pro-black men kind of overlook. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of people that took that part the wrong way. He said, yet she speaks against marriage for all such as LGBT and non-religious folks. So this is very ironic. No, it's if she's speaking against marriage, she's literally talking about the laws that it doesn't benefit any of the men growing up. This is why most men of all races are just like, I'll just do something else. You know what I mean? But yeah, yeah. Okay, but I remember I did have to go over this because I saw a lot of people take just that part of of what she was saying and holding that intellectual part up in the air. But real people know, people that are part of the people that date around, or people that have been around, understand that's just a cover up. That's just a cover up. You don't really have to take that intellectual thing to the bank. It's most of the times when we're talking about intellectual this, or my brain this, or it's a lot of the times that's to make up for if you're not her physical type. And even if you are her intellectual equal or intellectual superior, you're probably not going to be her first type. Her first type is going to be somebody that meets her physical type. That the people that meet the woman's physical type are the first choice for the most part. If that, I don't know if that makes sense or not.